Hello everybody, this is Fabi from The Next Big Rush, and what in the world is happening in Brazil? I told you that I would come here firsthand and kind of explain to you the implications of the political mess that we're going through in Brazil, but also what that means for your investments, if you have any, in Latin America, specifically in Brazil. You can't treat Latin America as just one big continent. Yes, they are different countries. Brazil speaks a different language, so we're dealing with different jurisdictions and laws as well. Okay, so some audio came out with basically this guy who is the owner of an extremely successful business, and he is explaining to the current president how he is trying to defend himself and bribing officials in order to get his way and protect him. And it seems like the president is saying, well, you got to keep things that way, implicating him in corruption charges, and also implicating that the current president would also be implicated in the corruption charges unless this guy was not paying these officials off. Now that's huge, even for Brazil. But the thing I want you to understand is that since about 2014, I would say, Brazil has been dealing with a steep economic decline, which seems to have pretty much leveled off right now at the bottom of this economic cycle. And what's happening is that was fuel for the impeachment of the old president Dilma Rousseff. Now, they were able to kick her out for accounting fraud and not corruption charges because the evidence that they had for corruption charges weren't substantial enough at the time to really have anything to do to be able to knock down a president, because unfortunately in Brazil there is a special protection for people who are of certain power status, and so they needed to catch her on corruption charges and then bring forward the evidence for the corruption charges, which they did after she fell. Now this guy steps in, her vice president. He is hated by her party. They consider it a coup. It makes me laugh how they consider that a coup, because it was completely by the book. If anything, they let her off the hook. She was supposed to have a much heavier punishment according to the Constitution of Brazil, and everything was public voting. So I sat there and watched live all the congressmen voting for her impeachment to go through or not. And so it's not like when you hear a coup in Brazil, it means that the sore losers of a certain party, of a certain ideology, feel threatened because they think that the vice president got into cahoots with some magical power that was able to convince the whole country to get rid of the president. I don't know how you do that. I'm obviously not of that opinion, being a libertarian and just wanting government to get out of the way altogether, so take my opinion with a grain of salt. But what I mean is, when they talk about a coup in Brazil, we are not talking about a bunch of military people grabbing guns and invading the parliament or anything like that. It is really not like that. That has only ever happened once in Brazil in 1964. Some small minority of people want that to happen again. I don't think it will. But what does that mean for your investments? From now until at least 2018, you're going to keep hearing about Brazilian political scandals. Why? Because at least 2,000 politicians are under investigation, and the machine in Brazil, so to speak, politically speaking, has always been greased with a lot of dirty money, except for now they are getting caught and people are going to jail. And so it's a big shock that this is all happening. And at the end of the day, there's a cleanup of the system that's happening. Now, it all depends on what comes after that. For now, you're gonna keep hearing that, and there will be presidential elections. I think about 18 months from now. So until then, you're gonna keep hearing that, because all the people in power pretty much right now are under investigation, and people will come forward and will tell all, right? Nothing has changed in the mining industry for Brazil, because that's done at a local level, and the people in power are not extremists, and neither were the people before them, and neither will be the people after them, I believe. And so really, the only thing you have to look out for Brazil is currency, which I guess is a good thing, because it's getting cheaper to produce everything in Brazil with the real being sold off. So really, I mean, you can follow the news if you want. It's utterly complicated. I will not want to study this in school. I mean, when it's all said and done, kids in the future studying this will be like, whoa, what just happened? Because it changes every 48 hours. There's something new that's happening. And so we don't know. We don't know what president we're going to have next week or next year. But the bottom line is, I don't see any changes whatsoever to the mining industry in Brazil, except for the currency difference. If I do see some crazy cuckoo close to getting into power, I'll come here and let you know and tell you what the implications are, okay? So, take everything you see with a grain of salt. Like I said, I am biased against all forms of government. So just make your decisions based on fundamentals of the sector and the company you're actually trying to buy. All right, nothing changes jurisdictionally yet for Brazil. Thank you very much, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.